For the next 60 days, I won't be allowed to eat dairy, sugar, gluten, or basically anything fun. I've spent the last few years living off of the worst foods you could possibly imagine. So this year, when I started taking my health more seriously, I had to start with my eating habits. I've always struggled with my weight, and I know a lot of that is because of my addiction to junk food. In the past, I've noticed even if I do lose the weight, my cravings for junk food was always still there. And that's why no matter how much weight I lose, I always gained it back. Funny enough, one of my really good friends, Linda, is a holistic nutritionist and explained to me that it all starts with your gut health. Lucky for me, not only is she an expert in this topic, but she was getting ready to start her gut cleanse program and there was room for one more. This would mean for the next 8 weeks, I'll be on a strict diet that'll strip me away from every kind of junk food I've ever loved. And I'll only be allowed to eat meat and vegetables for the next 2 months. Let's see how this goes.
It's day one of the next 2 months of my life. I just want to preface, I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen.
And what I mean by I don't really know what I'm doing in the kitchen is, this is a real photo of a real dinner that I cooked for myself. If you can even call that cooking. I'm screwed. We're at Whole Foods. We have a very short list of foods I can eat. Let's see what I can put together. Typically when I go grocery shopping, actually, let's be real, I never really went grocery shopping. So this first grocery haul was overwhelming for little old Iman. Groceries are done. Wish me luck, because I don't even know what to do with these things.
This is going to be a wild journey. You are literally going to be a different person from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4. My biggest tip for you is to just take it one day at a time.
Now, let me tell you, after that first call, I knew I was screwed. I knew it, but there's no going back. This is what my life has come to. I feel like this is just for me to chew. It's like a chew toy. I'm not gonna lie, when Linda first offered me this opportunity, I was a little bit naive on how strict and hard this actually was gonna be. After a couple of weeks of only eating meat and vegetables, honestly, I was getting a little sick of it. Don't mind me, just a girl and her steak. I don't know how many more of these I can eat. As for my cravings for sugar, I do work from home, so being alone majority of the time has helped me on this experience. But let me tell you, whenever I was around my friends that could eat sugar and all the things I couldn't eat, I felt like I was going insane. Like watching my innocent friend eat a single chip in front of me drove me insane. It even got to a point where my friends knew to give me their food before they ate it just so I could get a good sniff. All right, you know the deal. Oh my God, it instantly brought a smile to my face.
I'll send a video of me eating it.
I would do anything for that. Wow. And I can't have a bite. Yeah, ain't that some... So you can say after a couple of weeks of being on this, my cravings were still very strong.
The first time I met Iman was like, I don't cook.
This is the first time in my life I've ever cooked a steak. Like I was like watching like YouTube tutorials like.
As much as I hate to admit it, ever since I moved to LA, a lot of the foods that I eat were from restaurants, fast food, or meal prep plans. As I got into the 3rd week of this cleanse, honestly, I feel like I was getting a hang of this cooking thing. If you told me at the beginning of this year that I would actually be making my own food like this, I would not believe you. Jump scare. Just a reminder of where I started. The act of cooking may have gotten a little bit easier for me, but the real test is if the food even tastes good. It smells incredible. Almost like I made it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't cook that well enough, but that's okay, it still tastes good. Not only were my cooking skills getting better, I actually started to feel a difference in my focus.
I've noticed this week I'm so much more able to like sit down and get my work done. The other day I was saying to my roommate, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like oddly focused today. And she's like, maybe it's the cleanse. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Since I was a kid, I've always had issues with my focus, and it's been really difficult for me to sit down in one spot more than like 5 or 10 minutes. So to think that the foods that I'm eating could help with this issue was a solution I never really thought about. If you watched my YouTube video where I casually lost 50 pounds, you'll remember that I was on quite a roll until my birthday weekend, where I partied my life away, which resulted in me feeling like I lost all my progress and I was back at square one. So when me and my friends went on a trip to Yosemite, I knew I had to be extra careful because cheating was absolutely not an option. But like the adult that I am, I packed my own cooler with all my meat and vegetables. This way I had zero excuse to cheat at all.
We just got to Yosemite, so I'm trying so hard to make sure that on this trip, don't mess anything up. This is gonna be hard. Seeing all the good food, smelling all the good food.
As my friends were eating pasta and bread and chocolate, I was in the kitchen cooking my 50th bland steak of the week. And instead of just sitting there, I had upgraded from sniffing my friends' food to watching them eat it and have them describe to me what it tastes like. I hit a new low.
Wow, that's great.
Can you explain it to me?
It tastes like Christmas 2006 nostalgia. And you can't have a bite.
As my friends were drinking and eating whatever they wanted, I was over here chowing down supplements and drinking my water. I did notice as the trip went on, I went from not minding being around foods I couldn't eat to actually getting irritated and mad whenever I saw people eating things that I wasn't allowed to. And this is the point where the cleanse started to get to me mentally.
This past weekend, I have like kind of made a dip in like my mood. I'm losing full interest in eating any sorts of meats. I'm so over this.
And little did I know that this next week was going to be the hardest week of this entire experience. My cravings went from, oh, I wish I could have a cookie right now, to if I don't have a cookie right now, I might actually have a mental breakdown. One of the biggest things Linda kept reminding us is that this is going to be hard, but it is going to be worth it. And even though I actually was losing weight pretty easily, this was the first time in this entire cleanse that I actually questioned if I wanted to keep going.
I just had a moment where I was like so over this. I was just about to cheat. For a solid like 45 minutes, I was like super set on cheating. But I just came out here, show my brain, it's hard.
I sucked it up, went grocery shopping. Now I'm gonna go home and cook some food. I feel like going outside, taking a breather helped calm me down. This is so much harder than I ever expected, so much harder. I still can't wait for this to be over, but I'm not gonna cheat. I'm gonna go home, make some shrimp, make some food, and that's it.
I know a couple of you had really rough weeks. I know what you're going through is like really, really tough right now, but it's actually an indication of you needing it more than ever. I know Iman told me she thought she wasn't gonna make it, but she made it. Relax, take care of yourself. It's gonna pass.
As week 6 began, I started to feel just as horrible as I did last week, honestly. I will say though, my mood did improve like 2%, so there's something. With how terrible my mood has been the last couple of weeks, it really made me start thinking about my relationship with junk food. I've noticed that a lot of the times I run to junk food, not necessarily because I'm hungry, because I'm bored or I'm frustrated with something that's going on. And running to junk food has been the easiest distraction. And with how strict this cleanse has been, it's completely eliminated any junk food or fast food that I normally would run to just for distraction. My entire life, I've been incredibly lucky that not only am I able to eat whenever I want, but I can eat whatever I want. And I think this experience has shown me how much I really do rely on junk food just to get a quick dopamine hit.
You're beautiful. This is Dave's hot chicken.
I know it's terrible for me, but for some reason I can't stop. What's weird is I was really looking forward to this meal. Sometimes I force myself to eat these things. Not that I'm necessarily craving it. There's just something in me where it's like, oh, you know you're gonna get that dopamine hit right when you get it and you get that first bite. And after that first bite, it's kind of downhill from there. There's no like good benefits from this at all. It's funny because even me 1 year ago when I was at my highest weight and my worst eating habits, even me back then knew that I had a bad relationship with food, but I wasn't willing to do anything about it. About 2 years ago, I actually did a similar cleanse just like this with Linda. And even though I was losing weight and I was seeing significant benefits in my health, 3 weeks into that cleanse, I ended up cheating and quitting altogether. And ever since then, I've seen multiple of my friends go through this exact same process and actually finished. Seeing how much this experience changed my friends' lives, it always made me so upset that I didn't finish when I had the chance. I knew that this time around, I couldn't allow myself to run to junk food like I always did.
A lot of us, when we're uncomfortable, we want to run away from it. We want to distract ourselves. We want to watch TV. We want to eat food. Food is a very common thing that people do when they're uncomfortable. Let yourself feel it, because when you feel it, you can move on from it. And then your body will go, I didn't die. Oh, I guess this isn't a thing anymore.
I think I got so caught up with wanting this experience to be over with that I wasn't thinking about with each day I don't cave into my cravings, I was only growing stronger and stronger. I started to realize that the reason why this was so hard is because this wasn't just a diet that I do for a few months and then eventually go back to my old ways. But this was designed to completely cleanse your body so you don't ever want to go back to your old ways. I think this is when it started to click in my head that this is so much more than a diet and I'm working towards a genuine lifestyle change. I spent the last few weeks of this cleanse back on the East Coast, and I made sure to check myself every single time I had a craving and ask myself, do I really want this cookie or am I trying to distract myself from something else? My nephew had a graduation party and I was surrounded by home-cooked Ethiopian food. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to cave. But I was able to have self-control and not go crazy just because I couldn't have a bite. A couple people did let me sniff their food. Once I shifted my mindset, I started to see a huge difference in my mood. I honestly couldn't believe it, but I slowly felt myself not being being so bothered when I was around other people eating foods that I couldn't eat. I just got done hanging out with some friends, and I'm realizing it's becoming so much easier to be around my friends that are eating these like delicious foods that I can't eat. Just 2 weeks ago, I would have seen them eating all the cheese and the hummus, and I would have been frustrated. I'm feeling like I'm getting my self-control back. I wasn't like triggered or obsessed with needing to eat these foods with them. All those times that I almost cheated, I feel so thankful for that version of me for not cheating, because I would have regretted it today. Last few days of the cleanse, and I'm feeling pretty good. It felt like a switch in my head finally turned on. I went from being on the verge of literal tears just because I couldn't have a certain food, to now at the final week of the cleanse feeling like a completely different person. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was in control of my food. I am at Chick-fil-A with my nephew, and the cleanse ends tomorrow. It's crazy that I can sit here and not complain. It only took 2 months. I think this thing actually worked. And finally, we hit week 8.
Congratulations, you made it to week 8.
Right now, as I'm filming this video, it has officially been 3 months since I finished this cleanse. And I know this sounds so cheesy, but I can genuinely say that this experience has completely changed my life and my relationship with food. Before I started this cleanse, I weighed 208 pounds, was struggling with my cravings and need to eat junk food, and I hated to cook. 2 months later, I'm at my lowest weight in years at 180 pounds, and I've lost any and all interest in all kinds of fast food and junk foods. And I can't believe I'm saying this, I actually like cooking. I think if I did just any typical diet, I eventually would have gone back to my old ways and gained back all the weight that I just lost. But this time feels different. I feel like I finally solved the mystery and cracked the code to living a healthy life I've always imagined for myself. The past few years, I've like lost trust in myself and like discipline. And like this past 2 months taught me oh, I can trust myself. I can actually be dedicated and like disciplined to things. So I never thought of the mental aspect that would come from this. If any of this resonated with you, I challenge you to do one thing this week that'll get you one step closer to becoming your most ideal self. And it doesn't have to be related to health and fitness. If there's anything that you've always wanted to do or a bad habit you want to break, what's one thing you could do this week that'll help you break through?